Cần bên xe còn cả nắng thở bồi mà ngày nơi lùi mà ngày nơi lùi mang chân lên tu Phật đạo nghe tê dài qua Phật nam mô Nam mê Hương Ca Linh Chi
ở trên vùng dầu các chung ở trong vùng dầu cái này rồi từ lại nó keng lọc vậy là cái là mẹ đó lúc mà vẫn
Om Tolo
Oleh contoh, mayangat I want to thank Willis and Tesena for giving our church this time to mourn. I should not say mourn because Vanro was a good man. I should say to celebrate his life because his life was worth celebrating. The first time I saw him was in 1971. We were in ATS, Assam Training School. We were working in the farm in the afternoon, and he had come from Shillong to see Pubela. And Pubela was supervising us when we were working at the farm. And he came there. I had never seen him before. And then they spoke for a few moments and they went to Pubela's house. After that, I never saw him again. I didn't even know that he had come to America. When I first came to this country, as the older folks know that I came empty-handed. I got a job at the World Bank, and the condition was to get a G4 visa, I had to go out of this country. And the nearest that I could go was the Bahamas, to the nearest American embassy. And I didn't have any money with me. So I came here to Pavandro and I asked him for some money, and he gave me some money, and I was able to go to the Bahamas and come back with my G4 visa. I was very thankful to him. And not only me, he and his wife Pisangi had helped a lot of people. As you know, many people come to this house. Visitors come to this house and stay here. And even non-Mizos come to this house. I remember Pastor Faring, even though he had relatives here, he had rather stay here than with his relatives. So this is a home that people were welcomed in. Willis and Glenn, we mourn with you. The whole community mourns with you, and our prayers are with you. He will be missed by the Mizo community especially. As you know, as most of you know, Uvandro did not have the gift of speech. He could hardly speak in English, he could hardly speak in Mizo. But to make up for that, he had the biggest heart that I know. Amen. He was kind. I have never seen him angry. And he helped, as I said, he helped a lot. He had, not only here in Mizoram, he has helped a lot of people there. And many people are thankful to him. He has opened a school. Many people have become Adventists because of that school. Even though he could not preach, he used his means, his goodness, to proclaim the gospel. Ole, kanin kong, kan chananga, chanaka, lelal puan ro puichu, atlom ang Christian habu akan zali le sambok le pali, sumizo chon trong trai na kanay don ne. Kan din thầy chon ding bekila.
ليل البوان
Olalpa kan pathian min mangai tu khongai nanei le me hring te thamwan thin tu pathian kan nei che lom thu kan thila che zani na hian lalpa kan du wang le kan tum wang pon ilawin hetia kan ron kal khom te hi angai le thina poi kan tia amaro chu lalpa he khovela kan om chhum chuan hetiang te hi kan la tong zel donani chu wang chuan lalpa i local thua hi kan dua chu mi huna chuan lalpa keini ladam ate hi puro tuang ate pisangi te mu thei turin kan en siam thata kan pian thar theina turin kan thinlung te han ti thar lela amen van chona kal konga te kan hin to chowa lim takabana kan kal theina turin lalpa kan zabahian min mal so mang che zani na kan in khom na tur hi nangman min han kai hruaila chan bo nei te abik takin kan pastor I tharawin polla kan ne na thamwan na thu cha an soyang che chung dong chui suam hingin in ne na karang ti le tuna tu ban rawa chan chin soi na hun kan hong la ma sa bera asapa te se na kan ko ha anin adu apa dam lok dam te an boy pui cho dam te ron se ro se.
Thank you, Uncle John. Just want to tell you briefly of what happened to my father. It's been so soon that he's gone. Well, we were just here, 2 years ago when my mom passed. July 26, Tuesday night, we took my father to the emergency room because he vomited upstairs, and was in the emergency room for a few hours, and they diagnosed him with pneumonia. So they admitted him for pneumonia, and we're treating him with antibiotics. And as a Tuesday night, Wednesday night came along, they're treating him with pneumonia with an antibiotic. Wednesday night, he vomited again, and of course he wasn't doing so well. Come Thursday morning, he vomited again, vomited blood, and that's when he became unresponsive, and they had to intubate him. At that time, that he roughly had about 53% of oxygen saturation from what they told us. So he was intubated. They're treating him, continue treating him for pneumonia. As they're treating him with pneumonia, with the antibiotic, he still didn't seem like he was getting any better. So the doctors were thinking that something else was going on with him. So they did a bronchoscopy and took some samples, and took a few days to figure out what was going on, and they found out that he has an autoimmune disease as well called vasculitis. It attacks your blood vessels and swells up your blood vessels, and so now they're treating him for vasculitis and also for pneumonia. So along with all this, he's intubated, ventilator is helping him breathe. His lungs are pretty infected from pneumonia, but also at the same time, they're not too sure what's going on, if it's pneumonia or if it's a vasculitis or if it's both. So with what's going on, it was very complicated, along with his kidneys and diabetes and so forth. So the doctor was having a hard time trying to figure out what was going on. So as the week goes by, they said to us he was getting better as they're treating him with the antibiotics, and they said that they'll extubate him on Thursday, the week after he was intubated. So that Thursday came along, and his numbers, his vitals were improving, and they extubated him, which was great news. It was good to see, good to hear, and he was talking to us, laughing, and he was conscious. And during this whole time when he was intubated, he was sedated as well. So he wasn't really too sure, wasn't really knowing what was going on at that time. So when he was extubated, they seemed like he was getting better. As the weekend came along, his breathing was getting a little bit heavier and heavier and heavier. So come the Monday, he became unresponsive again, and they had to intubate him for the second time. So during this time, doctors told us that once a patient is intubated for the second time, there's a very slim chance for him to survive. So during that point, of course, we're getting a little bit worrisome. And of course, when this is going along as well, his kidneys are starting to shut down. He was already having some kidney problems before, and the good news is that he was producing enough urine. They had to put a catheter for him to release fluid. So during this time, his first 2 weeks, he was in pretty bad shape. When he was intubated for the second time, they're still trying to treat him. So they came to us and say that they want to do 5 procedures to treat this vasculitis, along with still taking antibiotics and also steroids at the same time. So they're trying to balance things out with everything that's going on. The doctor said to us, it's what he has is very, very, very complicated. When that week was going on, that week was coming along, they wanted to they wanted to call us, they wanted to talk to us, and we had a meeting with the doctors and just want to keep us updated on what was going on with his condition. they're initially telling that they're doing everything that they can do, but he's just not getting, any better. He's pretty much plateaued. He's getting better. He's declining. He's getting better. He's declining. He's getting better. Declining. But he's never gotten to that point where he was at from the beginning. So he was gradually decreasing and decreasing with his condition. The following week, while he's still intubated for the second time, his kidneys are definitely starting to decline rapidly. So during this time, his fluids, all the fluids that they're giving him, he's retaining all his fluid. He's not being able to release any fluid. So now his whole body is getting swollen and stiff. He looks unrecognizable to a certain degree, when you look at his body. He kind of looks like, me, not, I'm just saying he looks very swollen, not the small guy that you would see. As the week is going by, he hasn't really been getting any better, and had another talk with the doctors again, and they came to us and pretty much said that there's nothing else that they can do. They've done everything that they can do, tried everything that they can do. They even said to us that we're not going to do dialysis, but they actually went ahead and still did dialysis to try to release some fluids. But even with dialysis, his heart rate was rising and his blood pressure was dropping, so he couldn't even take dialysis. And with them at least giving an effort with them trying to do dialysis, which was giving us hope, more hope. But until they said that they couldn't really do too much anymore, and the only way for him to survive is to get a tube, and then they get a tube down his throat, a trachea tube and a feeding tube. But even at that point, his lungs were so severely damaged from the pneumonia and from being intubated for intubated 2 times, he wasn't even stable enough to even get a trachea tube done. So weeks go by, Thursday comes along, Wednesday comes along, Thursday comes along, and there's really no improvement at all. There's just pretty much stable. And on Friday evening is when we lost him, and he just couldn't hang in there anymore. He fought hard. He fought for a long time. Even the doctors even said to me, he said that I expected your father to decline rapidly, and that was a week before he passed. So he was a strong man, very strong man. And here he was working before my mom passed, and his health declined when my mom passed. He had a stroke 6 months later, and of course, Pastor Vanrotluanga's passing. That really hit him hard, and his cousin, my mom's sister-in-law. So there were a handful of people who had passed, and that really hit him hard. So well, Uncle John said that he was a good man, very good man. And I said to the folks last night, he's a better man than me, because how my mom has all these flowers and pink drapes and pink curtains upstairs, that wouldn't happen in my house. So very quiet man, and when my mom would yell and scream at him, he would just sit there and just be quiet, like you say. He's a very quiet man, but very good man, very good heart. And I'm so thankful and grateful to have parents like him. And it's a blessing to have parents like that. I used to say that I'm blessed and fortunate for both of my parents to be with me, still alive, still together, still married for 35, 40 years. But here I am sitting here and having neither parents. But I can still say that I was blessed and fortunate to have them and call them mom and dad. And of course, Auntie Zai, Uncle Song, Uncle Zo, Uncle Pieka, Uncle John. I could definitely still rely on you guys, Uncle Eddie, And to Hutti, everyone, I could say every single one of you here and last night and all the previous nights. That will keep me strong, that will keep me going. I know this is one of the difficult parts of life that we definitely don't want to go through, but we have to. But I'm grateful for everyone. I mentioned last night as well that I was watching a sermon a few weeks ago where Pastor Tapp said, the harder the separation, the sweeter the reunion. So the harder the separation, as hard as it is to separate from both of them, from anyone, the sweeter the reunion will be. And you know, my dad's favorite song, or one of his favorite songs, and he picked that song at my mom's funeral, was "When We All Get to Heaven," and I look forward to that day, and hopefully I can get there, and I'm sure that they will be there.
Amen.
When loved ones leave us, it's very hard. It's harder when good people leave us. So the same really is. You are in our prayers. May God comfort you that only God can give. No human being can comfort but God. So remember that as long as you rely on God, He will be with you. He will comfort you. Ole, ato tak kalanga upa ukai dia na song dong ni. Akan pinsan ko rin.
Iso tungin kan soi mai nga. O pia tak le. Sak tak ni ve kan ken khashina. Iso tungin ka soi mai nga. Pa o sak tak le pia tak ni kan ken shebe china ma se. Tu na ta kisen ko i kan ni ta mi lo te ki mula. Isang nilai heti layak. Vanrotluanga ora lagang ni toa. Isang kat mamay karon tel thelawa. Ni ma silangin kay main hun kamanda atel lawin hun kalamang law ni kasya kan soy masak du chu. Usangi khanin thiltam tak ka cellphone a hian min thona. Heng song so hin kala kol feka tin kan ko khan thil ti tele abik takin Vanrotluanga tene na kan sai te kha eng basa ta hianin a oma 94 a hita kalo kala nawang takamin lo puma kung ay na na min lo kil ko tu tinu pa anniya amaro si sana hianin personal takhilam pang sa soitan kutum lawa 94 tan sa school Sligo tan in miso service sa sana na Sligo kum somni siwang kan lawon hawa ko ran ang po nilawin unaw at singkat kamin Sligo ang hawa ilay sino chatam may nilin takin kanin po hawa abik takin ka video enak tekan pastoral sanga lauma Vanrotluanga le usanga ne kamit tui anti kanu sa event semai pa ka chuan pastor Jose Moses ate urotene Vanrotluanga kan palina sanin kan zai ho thin boka chhungte chi ka ena ka soi thui ma kan han soi chu Mazana chuan Pastor Jose Moses Khani minan kawa. Hello katia ka chana chuan khan a o ka hiat khan alung chia ni ti ka nga la. Ama din hunte min sila. Chuan atapa kaya ichong trai na tia chong trai na ang mga chok singin kan panin kan chok tim na. Vanrotluanga kan an chan ta isi le usang ai wala sang te bi kan ke ba ne chuan ka sai kan lo the lo ka ri lo an khat lian mai ni kan thiam wang pon ni lovin pathian ro puinan zai nuam kan tiu Vanrotluanga pon zai nuam ati boka ten ka zai pui to a mizo mi pa Vanrotluanga aya othum thai ka la khelawa kalang mubok lawa. A hi a insum zoka a rin lutuk he lawa. I o thum cha ka ti chuak te ka ti chang a oma. A chang sen a rin lutuk ka lau chi na a tiene. A du to ka chuak pei chuanin. He te sai pang ai kan sai pang ai thum hianin. A la sai te ya. Chu kan han soi ma sa duwa. Indar kan di a ti khan Helen Lowry School Aizola Kalatuka. Sa nuher aniya Paul Kwale Paul Song. Volleyball kher tu kakati puya. Pastoral khaliana na pui pu hlunia long chua kaya ran kemeran awai ka eya. Kecha ka hodon atita enga tinge katia. Indara kandi athi anti hendran say en makati take to lo ka hodon. Atiani. Indar kan dia kia an le khasia new san ran sia ka sia ra chuan Indar kan di ang hi khovelin kum som chugin pakhat achu lo khovela hian kum som chugin Indar kan di ang hi pakhat po an piang lo ati. When Indra Gandhi died, he was shot by one of his personal guards. I read on the news that the world do not produce like Indra Gandhi in 10 years. Within 10 years, not even one born a person, a special person like Indra Gandhi in the world. Tôi cái sợi cả tụi mong Vanrotluanga hi mizo ram hian kum so pakhat a chona mizo te hi barmalam le India ramong kan ni kum so chungin Vanrotluanga hi mizo ji han pakhat an piang lewa mizo mi pa ka hu to si a chan chi kan thia khang jong sa sợi ka tu mo lo ngai per mangai na nga per mi chan pui na kong le pathian ta nen pek na kong mi chan nem per mel ma nei lawa huat anei lawa achuma enge mo te dik tu te a thina rin ve ngai lo an tu ang angin thil ti sa a thu ngai lo min har san an to chon a ril ro lang lian ber enge ka ti sa emergency Vanrotluanga at sak em. In normal life, he might not be, he may not stand up, but when emergency comes, in the community or in the church or in the family, he stands up. His mind, his thinking is very quick. And the first thing he was thinking was, what can he do for me? Kaka aril ru like what I mean. People who has emergency or difficulty or problem, the first person they think they can hold is Vanrotluanga. That's what happened in the community. Not only in here, even from another country. When he was in Mizoram, we have a problem here. MSL leaders, they called him when he was in Mizoram. chút tiền mi chứ này rồi kiểu này à rồi bị cái gì Indira Gandhi bốc han say là à thì nữa khan Miss Universe contestant India ai ở tu ha top 5 à telani top 5 à tela chuan personal zone na pakhat la zone na chuan thil khovela thil then to singa thil poi iti siam that le thei se iti singa che tiang che i ril ro ta se emi ani poi iti ber le siam that le thei se Indira Gandhi ka hlu ani poi ka ti ber siam that le thei se ka ni ber kha Miss Universe tiklin tu zo na ni tlat mai这点就可是不用紧张，图片的，二人了嘛。西洋出来睇安尼多了，你嘛说了，后来了咪看，咪首先咁看咪了变多些，咪会哦，咪当当那咪出的，啊路边，就是那咪，你嘛伊了咪，都咪当那些，迄点昂得个路里个了都咪了。After how many years, I don't know, there was a Miss Universe pageant contest. The Indian representative, the lady who represented the India, was on the top 5. The last question they asked was that in the past, that something bad happened, or I don't know, I can tell it in Mizo, but in English it's a little bit difficult for me. If you can correct something bad happened in the past, think about in the past and the bad thing happened and what do we say is the worst thing and which one you think is that if you can correct it, you want to correct. Her answer was the killing of Indira Gandhi was the worst. If that thing can be undone, I want it to be undone. So ano po mo tak mo ka Miss Universe Nina Kantin Aninani. That question was the best answer she gave for the question, for the amount of contestant. Then she was crowned Miss Universe in that year. Likewise, Vanrotluanga, the pass away of Vanrotluanga, to me, is the worst thing that happened. And if anything that undone, that happened, the bad thing that happened in the past, it can be undone. I will say the same thing tonight. We know him. I don't have to say what kind of person he is. That's what I have in mind. That's how I think. The value, his life, how precious to everyone we know, to my family, to myself. So you can say, "Kung saan tana, ako'y banen, suko tana, ako'y banen, kotan tana, ako'y Vanrotluanga kan sinun, arakha apoy katitakme meba sewangin kariru akai takme mea miwi om ani katling lo ke dia atan ke petok lo kita pakai sia oh sewangin poi pakatia sewang hetia merong puisan kan niti sali ka sei midang thil dang samsam kan khevek om dan te emi se hetia ama miluhi Mizoisi ngayon ang piyan leto karing na. Kasi angin kung so chuni pakhat Mizora mahiyan Vanrotluanga ang piyan na. Julay te apoy magsu kasi ito allu katiyan na kansani apoy katiyan no pa kansani. Example pakhat sa kasi kan chewa silong chamba sa choir ang lokala. Indian community, Indian church. an lo boi puya an lo thlen kha mi pahnih emaw i lo thleng ve them an ti the an tiang lo thlenga ta tang hianin an sin chuak tan kalna tur an han kal kola an program a zo chuan Maryland a hetilai Washington DC area an lo ki khan khoi angen lu kan thia an zawai khan ta hanan lo lu ti fe miong thei tak tak house tak tak in ang khenga khum dom tak tak an mi khol ta dan lo bua sai se kam chimia ai chuanin urong tluanga le isa ngi chuata mut na siam chapa muta ho heta thlen sa kha an tu chiu chuan thil tam tak a sai le hria chiu wangin urong tluanga poi te poi mo na le lut nai sai zo thei anilo sai sen thei anilo te kaunga le te sena te pathiani ko puise anu le pacha na lalpan mala lo som ton ha chang tu ne ro se di ka du thu sa ma ni ka la me
lo mom le mai adat tu kha ku sang dia na nya hei Mizoram namatanin lekha pahnik kandonga Pastor Chan Sanga le Pastor Biak Chona Pastor Chan Sanga lekha chia turin afanu sami kan kolbang
Zan ina hetia tua chanchin saitora kanding tamai hi mangchiani se khop mai ti ha an saido pata I would like to first say the first time I heard Uncle Kluanga's name was when I asked my dad when I was really little. I don't remember, but that was the first time I heard his name was when I asked him why my brother's name was named Kluanga. And then my dad told me that I have a friend in America, his name is Kluanga, and there's another Kluanga Pusanglena's brother and Ruati's husband who are really good men, and that's why his name is Kluanga. And I think even after knowing him, he lived up to that. Kluanga, the meaning of his name. And yeah, it's really hard. My dad really wanted to talk and speak live tonight, but because he's sick, his voice is really slow and weak, and so he sent me this letter to read it out for you tonight. Utluanga chanchin soi hi soi chak om tak soi ol sam tak ani na dik tak soi lan mai kha ania I swan dan shami nena lukabung so ma chuan chatuan nun na nei du chuan nang ma in mangai angin ni veng te poi mangai turani ati tekhin thui na chun zonga kha samari mi tha kha iswa ania atopa dan shami nena nang bo chu ang bok chuan ti vero ati ani utluang dang dang ve em na chu a chan chin kan soi hian fak na thu a om lawa ani na kan soi top ani khochaka nia chuak kan ti hian kan fak lawa ani na kan soi mei ang hi ani ole utluang thin rim hi ka mu khat khop meya tum khat chu kan tlangwal line le khabu kan zuar thina mizo officer nena kan kala alo lei nge meya receipt azia donin apen du tak mai a na anei rem chan lawa wangin min a tira receipt ziak turin khonge pen kha atia kalau thau bo man lak meya atum mak meya kan chwa nu po in biak apupur omtre ani ole zin hau thin kan nia abuai thak em me chu train a kan kaldon to hian khonge utluanga ti fo ngai hi ania utluang hei train a chatran tonia man mo deuh ro ti hian man mo deuh a pakai chang hi kan nei fo thiam ani mathai bunga chang somli pariata chuan isuan in pa wana mi thafam kim angin in thafam kim turani atia hei hi achang ma kan en chuan pathian in khovel mi zong ang khatin mangai thu kan hmuwa isuan mi ati dam turin mi thale thalawa thiar lawa tanpui ngai a tanpui zel mai ani anhena local chu tuma anar ngai lawa mishing te chuan khovel mi te ang khat veka mangai chu kan ti thei ani lawa ma se kan then om veng le tanpui ngai te chu tiang mangai ve tur chuan min ti ani hei hi pathiana thafam kim anga kan that fam kim ve theina ani don chuan uthuanga hi pathian hmuwa chuan adu om ve le nge yang mi pakhat chuan Vanrotluanga nin chu siam tu meu po alom ve hle ang ati ani utluanga hian tanpui ngai nar hi kala shalawa aro pui em na chu tu po anhena local te hi afa te le unaw ang thlap veka lo treat thei hi ani keiber amokanin ti thau thei deuh vek ome tu ma hi alaka hian tlatlung le wang thei bik tur hi kan omin ka shalawa kan nai beramo kan ti thei zel mei hi aro pui na chu ani Mizoram a local changin lung lei tum thung ka tlot pui to a chim lama lung dai te le khosang sang kan kala a thlenna a piang kha a vur ne viau zel boka kalna piang a chung le khaten an mangai le leina zia kha aro pui ka ti ani an lei pathian mu thei tling ve in kasia zolna in Christian dik tak te asoina khan a loving and a lovable Christian ati kha apur chuak le in kasia isuan mi hena englawi pekin ikut veilamin shasu se ti Bible azia ka hei hi apian pui ani athil ti that hi asoi le ka shengai lawa mani a in fak thu tongkam khat po kalasalo kaushanan tan pui na te school now pang school fee an tanpui na tale tanpui nga yan tanpui ta hi listo nila athui viau nge yang zan khachu Washington Beltway kan tlana kongsir motor thatlo wanga kal thelawa huwa ngoi te somi te son tanpui an ngai atia thui fe kan tlan kwal le a tanpui ngayem atia ngai love kan chhungten local don anti nuwa kan kalsan le ta ani Maryland Langley Park kan bazara mi pakhat hian kara tangin video camera lei tu em zanni in atia camera bom thara newspaper hu phone hi alonia akal tur kha a motor number kha kan shamana police a report ang miang katia ani chuan poisa mamoni don kha atiliam meya lung oi takin kan kalsan vele tameini khovela hi chuan choi moina le lomman te chu adong lem lawang ma se iswa hena tanga choi moina le lomman khongai na zara adong ve nge yang chuti huna po chuan utluanga chuan khai enge kati a heti tak meya ro puya lomman ka dong ta khile alatinge yang isuan mi khwali lo enkol na le tanpui ngai te lo tanpui te kha keima chunga ti ini ati nge arin omani avahlim omdon tak em pathiani na fate Glenn ale Willis ale tam takin ma somzer rose achan chin hi le khabua te zia theini se thang thar ten anron theingil lo nan pathian khongai na le za ngai na iswar ke bulato hun tur nga hel om nge me pathian in kan za in chumin ni ro pui tak atan chuan kan in peya hlim taka kan tel ve nge theinan malmin som thau ro se
khawhar English in katil soi khallo summarize verotia. I wanted to say a little bit about your dad too, but for the interest of time, and my sister I wanted to quickly go over for the non-Mizo speaking what my sister just read, and I will try my best to translate that. Talking about Utluanga is easy because we just have to talk about his true character. In Luke chapter 10, it is written, "To have a long life, we must love our neighbors as ourselves." The verse was followed by the parable of the Good Samaritan. That Good Samaritan was Jesus, and he advised us to live our lives like the Good Samaritan. What is unique about Utluanga is that when we speak about him, we are not praising him. We are just talking about who he is. When we say the sun is rising in the east, we are not praising the sun. We are just talking about it. One time I followed him when he was canvassing, like selling books. We approached a Mizo officer who agreed to buy our books. Utluanga had a pen that he really liked, and he asked me to keep it safe for him as he had no pocket to keep it. When he was going to write the receipt, he asked me for the pen, but I realized that I had lost it. Utluanga was really upset and kept a mum face. That was the only time my dad saw your dad upset at him. They also often traveled together, and he said that when the train is about to leave, they always have to look for him, and that sometimes have to hop on a train that is moving. And then they still call him James Bond because of it. And Matthew chapter 5 talks about loving, and it also talks here about if you are kind only to your friends, how are you different from anyone? Because even pagans do that. But you are to be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. We can see that Jesus does not distinguish between anyone. He loves everyone equally. He did not distinguish between classes. He healed everyone who came to him. He never rejected anyone who came to him. And it might not be possible for a human being to love all humans in this world equally, but what we can do is to love our neighbors and help those who need our help. If these are the qualities that make us perfect, Utluanga is perfect in the eyes of the Lord. One person once told me the life of Vanrotluanga will be appreciated even by the Lord. I have never once seen Utluanga reject a person who has come to him for help. What makes him a great man is that he could treat anyone as his own children and grandchildren. What makes him one of a kind is that anyone who knows him will feel like they are closest to him, and we all feel that way because he had the power to make us feel special. When he came for a visit to Mizoram, I took him to Lunglei 3 times. We visited towns such as Lungdai and many other places. He was kind and giving to every family we stayed with. Sometimes it surprised me how all his relatives loved him so much. They looked to him like he was their earthly God. He was the true example of a loving and lovable Christian. Matthew chapter 6 verse 3 says, "But when you give to the poor, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing." Puvandro was born to live this lifestyle. I have never once heard him talk about the good things he has done in a boastful way. But if we were to list the schools, churches, students, and the people that he has sponsored along, the list would be very long. One night we were traveling through Washington, the Beltway. They saw a car that broke down even though they drove miles ahead. My dad said he turned back around to go and check on them, but luckily they had relatives that were coming, so they went on. Another time, they were in a parking lot in Langley Park, and he said there was a guy that came to sell them a video camera for $200. When they opened it, it was just like contained with soggy old newspaper. So the person that sold them that was right in front of them. And so he said, look, there's his driver license number. Let's note his number down and report it to the police. But Utluanga just said it is okay. Maybe he needs the money. He may not have received rewards and honors while on earth, but through God's grace, he will surely be rewarded richly in heaven. And even on that day, I can imagine Utluanga saying, what did I do? Why am I getting a reward? And Jesus will say to him, the guests that you welcomed, the people you helped, everything you have done for others, you have done for me. I can't imagine how happy he will be. I wish we could write about his life in a book so that the new generations of Mizo can read about him. I cannot wait for the day I will meet him on that heavenly shore. I pray God blesses us and shows mercy on each one of us, that we may all gather together on that heavenly shore when he comes the second time. I pray God gives bountiful blessings to Glenn and Willis. Thank you.
Amen. Pastor Biak Chona Lek Matia Turin Izai Konfong.
Walahi zanina program kan VMM show kan tuar beka Pastor Biak Chona tenu pahi an pasin lo te zingami an ni bea an mga man ni punan mga ya an VMM man tuar en boka lo min lo share sa karo antia just and I agree that I will pass this on to you later in English. Maryland, USA, Mizo Arcelian, Ehelian Tamo, Tuartiam Bahar En, Boinian, Israel Milian, Miropui, Tapatiti in Shenange, Samuel Panina, Buntum Jang, Sumtum Pariat. Pu Vanrotluanga, Kauitohi, Tam Tangzinga, Claim Tetal, Ronsaive Kadua, Milong Itlak Sabesham, Tramdonia. USA le lungara masak berkum sang kazakwa samkwa pakwa atanga in return chau kan ina in Krista chanjin trawangin unaw piang mun in mangai ang mayin anni no panen hian kanin mangaya kantan hian anluem emaniti kasoi Macedonia amizia kasoi thiam dan derchu mangai natlang hlom lian tak ni in kamua mi ko ngai na khatlat mingel nei zaidam nun mem do thei thun wai ro mitlom ngai rum rut le mi tran pui do na khatlat mi thil pal eng ma ui nei lo ani tran pui ngai a tran pui phak to phot chu tran pui zel lu mi ani asoi lam hi atalen lem lafa atiet timi ani pathian thu po ni se asoi lo thiam ve lo ani a ma se ataka rin taka nun pui tlat chi ani a chan chin kan sei lai hian a phena anu pui pilal sang le ani po sei terzel angai anni no pa hi mangai na akatlat annia Mizo te chau nilaw North East India mi namdang mi tu te po yan mani inang maya tlang nelin an tlensil lui ngam vek zel ani an magna em chu an inakho sa to zong te yan min mangai ber le min do sak ber emo kanin ti thei chau thin hi ani cái ní chung qua ngay po an pha te ang main min maya cái ní po in una pian poi ai men kan maya moti tur ani a kan chunga an thana hi hele zong kan rol sen don talo ani hi hetiang taka mi thai hi mi zo fa te zinga kum sang dana po an piang le zen thein karin lo hiar ani thei top chwa ina dam le nan dal pa ne na kan nge na ma se lal pan min san dan chu hetiang hi lo ni ta dan zo rol lovin min herdiam santasi a riat thiam var tak em ma se lalpa chu mangai na khat kan thana tura engkim min tho sak thin tu le bula tanga top khenga engkim mulok tu ani a atana thaber turin ro arel saka kan ngai mai ani ang chu kan uizia te kan tenlung na zia le van san zia te soifia ngai na a lo ani e kan trong trai chan na te hi tu na rathiam ri lo in trapin room ri mai la chatuan kwa varuna engkim pola na ni hun chuanin mangai zok wang lo ni e kan la ti te e mang chu akal sana fa te ko ngale te se na te kan lai na em a an thil hai ve le ang ti kan ring ma se lalpan atlamuanin ompui ze lang ti kan dur sak na le kan trong trai sak na ani o Vanrotluang min mangai tu kan van ui tak che em ko vela chon kanin hole don ta si lawamo ma se iso kristat lam na ti senzara thole na jing khawhar em moya chuan stroke le pneumonia te cancer le zun thum na ten anti chet thei to lo thi thei lo na van tak sa fam kin nen chatuan in then le ngai to lo turin lim takin kanin to le nge yang ti rin na le be se na nung nen ui em le ngai em chung che in kan thla liam mai nam che mitra an thia tu man poi an telo pathian ngai sak mi te po an thia tu man chen na thleng tur laka lak bo an ni ti an ngai to lo mi fel chu thi a thil thalovin a khoi pak lowa dik taka ti thin te chutlamwang takin an kuma an mu sei thin isai bung samnga pasari chang khat le chang ni aroni bol thin ilal pa ne na thamwang takin chol sei yang che o rest in peace thi awanga thian in ten kan in tok le ang kong kha moi ken hon huna nang mang mangai em to le ngai em to te pastor PL biak chona an family aizo mizoram
wala lang naman to na upasang yan na kung so mga nakang hun ka at siya mang chu
Say, kim to ko maya. Say, so say to na ma say to kanina taba. I often ask questions to myself. Beside God and my immediate family, who is the most important person and who has influence or impact my life the most in this world? And I used to concentrate and focus on that question many times. And my answer, my obvious answer is Vanrotluanga is the one who has the most impact, influence into my life. And now I am the one who I am now, and what I do now, and what I become today is, beside God and my immediate family, Vanrotluanga is the one who brought me this far. And it's been great blessings, as many people have said. And as they said, that they are the one who get the greatest blessings. And I am, I think, one of the one who get the most blessing out of his life, because we spend our time together the most, 55 years. And not only the quantity of our life spent together, but the quality of our life spent together is a very meaningful, very deep. And we work together, and we are attending the same church, and we're involved in so many activities, and MSA, MCA, MCCA, and so many organizations in Maryland is initiated by the group where Vanro is one of the most important leaders, and I was one of the most active person to support him in many things. So after knowing that my family, not only me, even my immediate family in my zone and here, since we have been so close together, and they look him like your brother too. And he's my best friend and also like my brother. And when they heard about Vanro's pass away, and some of my close relatives who knew about us well, call me and send me the words of condolence. And they said that you are the one that we really think about for losing Vanro, my best friend. And I have lost two of my best friends, Vanro and Pastor Vanrotluanga. That been great tragedy. But at the same time, I've been greatly blessed. I am very happy that I am the one who have been with a person who has been so outstanding, so unique, and so loving, like Vanro, and to be a friend with him, and to have a friend like that is a great blessing for me. And therefore, the saying, you lost your beloved father, and we lost a brother and my friend, my best friend, and he has been a great blessing for us. And you are like our son too, you know. So all of us who come here, to them, each one of us is a best friend and the best helper for each and every one of us. So whenever you're not the only one who feel the loss, we all feel the loss. And when you need help, we are here. So we might not be able to occupy the shoes of your father, but we are here. We're ready to be with you and to help you whenever you need. I have so many things to say, but as I said, and we and so many experiences we have together. And in Spicer, let me say, Atin rim lai ka mungai lo ti kha kariro lo langa. Ro cho atin rim lai ka mungai lo ve khop mai ve po. Ai ngo a serious lo te zo na ka le trai ka dia. So an by khot so atin rim kan camping na ka in vai ka dia Spicer camping kan ne na ka ni. Vai pakat Sri Lankan mi ka aron chawaron ti tin rim khop mai kan lo thi chak mai. Jadi tak kena mau gantia, ni apa kalau bahau dom gantia, mai kan bena. May God bless you. At hindi tidang ka sa tulu tagani. And atong ngai tu ka klemin ka at soy tam to kang sa pipito lawila. Kan ram vana kan ram tekan vak do ra ki yun to na sa kanin sui na he pro te hora niya. Chuanin asa kap kha ka tel bela chme tu chuan sakis patsal thade mai kha kap ani arwal khan athang lam khan sat lang bal te ro pakha lo kap ve tia an kap du yo mai ti moi te ko thang le te ho ngai dan ka chuan uro tro ka khan ngai mai ma se kha tang wal kha ka ni ro te boxia ro to moi tlat mai si I kani ka ngange kakapti ta che unti asoi do re kai aka voi khanna ni a he chu changmai ro se ka ati du lo tare re ngoi ni ten hei zai ngai na mi ni a อะไรโซนกันเสียเนี่ยชัดนะก็จึงสวยตั้งตัวจ่ายยังไงนะอ๋อถูกมาผู้สาวเสียเจ้านี่สปอยส์ละกันจ่ายเท่าไรกันนี่เราเพิ่งมาขอเวลาถูกไปเลยเดี๋ยวเราคอมเมนต์ต่อทีนะเอาเป็นเซนซิริตี้แต่กันซาสปอยส์ละตะเล่นในตากันห่วงกันกันนี่นะตัวแต่ส่วนนี้kami talen nai ta grand prize ka loman kan muiเราจองเขาไปทิ้งปุ๋ยทิ้งปุ๋ยเฟดอ่ะน้ำบองครับ double basement ก็เสียงเงี้ยปัสสาวะใส่กูเต้นเนี่ยข้างตะการเรือเราเลยครับทิ้งตุ่เชงเฮียนี่หล่อว่าใกล้เราสมัยกันตัวเตะๆนั่นละเตี้ยตีฟูจังจังเทียเบบี้เป็นกันเทียจะเห็นว่ามาเทียไงเขาไม่รู้สร้างฟอกครับยังจะหุ่นกันมันนะที่เราทิ้งพันเสียแต่เขาอันนี้เสียใส่เบลตุรมเสียงเราที่มาเตะกันถอดแบบไม่เลยไงผู้สาวนี่ข้านี่เราพร้อมจะเองที่การมาหาสนามดูนะเห็นอันนี้จงไอ้ทำให้เป็นเสียละหาสนามเราเร่งที่เขาAllah prophesied that on him, he's already said, Vanrotluanga will never get rich in his life because he gave everything that he has. Ma say, hey, kanan kala. Mani deu khani kum masa kum linga juta ta khani financial advisor Filipino nu khani. Aron theory karon estimate ta ka advisor ne chu soi nu ka ta chone. You have reached, you have achieved the American dream, millionaire in me. At the end, cut. Take up a teeny here, but here one thing cut. And I mean, pain, until take us as a till we need a take us some cut. But here in Malasoma, millionaire, and eating cut. In Patumania, let it up, eyes all at up. So I mean, Anuna here, but here in a tablet at him, Arulani, I can hit him like here. But here you can. Cháu thì là ai tâm sao thân, lâu rồi lên chứ mày nè, thì pastor chân sang à, để kể lẽ đi, cái này close để đi cả, cái chuyện ấy, em mà, thật gì đấy, thiếu phần gì đấy, cái ngày tuổi bị phạt là mà hiện thì là tiền này, ôm lâu thì, bị trả cái tiền thì chân sợi cái này, tiền tết chúng mà lại cái, nếu tiền tết chúng mà sẽ cái trả về theo mấy cái đó mà, nếu giờ cả mấy phơi, cái phơi, phơi cái phơi mấy. อันนี้ซื้อเมียเทียดไงบางเราแต่พวกมีครัวแล้วมาเหมาะฉันรวยจัดเลยเมียเทียดแต่ว่าเมียเทียดเราเชื่อเราเลยเรื่องนั้นข้างๆเอาลูกหูเจียงตู่กันเนียงเชื่อว่าอันนู้นนี้เราปุ๋ยทุกอย่างมีเจ้าป้าตายเตสนานั่นตีวานาป้ากันตีข้างห้องข้านี่ข้างห้องแต่ขันเลี้ยงห้องตาเสนาอนุรวดคดีตาเสนาข้าวเราจะเอียงเป็นกันยังไงทำให้เราจะทิ้งพลังมาเช่นทุกเป็นกันยังเราดีเราจะเห็นข้าวกันมั่วเนี่ยจัดปุ๋ยตัวนี้เราใช่เราปุ๋ยตั้งกันภาษาจันทร์สร้างเนี่ยก็ส่วนตัวที่นะเราจะว่าแต่ทิ้งพลังเสียเนี่ยชัดเจนจุดคงไม่กันตีเวียที่หันตีจีปนเราหันก็ปีจีนเราเลยเรื่องนี้เปลี่ยนปุ๋ยจังยังไงหันตีเวียไม่จีนเราที่อย่างเช่นทิ้งพลังอะไรไม่นี่เต็นกอร์นาเฮียนท่านเห็นมั้งไงมาอเมริกากรัมกันแล้วกันสันเฮมานี่เฮาส์เลยมานี่น้ำเสนมานี่เราปุ๋ยนักกันส่งแล้ววะประเทศโรงพยาบาลนะเฮ้กันกันสันนี่กันแต่กันสวยดูเทียนเชื่อว่าถึงโรงพยาบาลนะเฮ้กันสวยปุ๋ยแล้วดูเชื่อว่าท่านเห็นมั้งไงนะเฮ้เองอเมริกาเราไม่มีโซซายที่ปอรังช่างบุลตุ้มตัวเลยเราจอยฟังตัวกันนี่นะเห็นเราจัดกันเจ้าเชื่อว่าที่เขาขนาดพอเฮียนสไลด์ก็จังอินบุลกันเตน่ากุ้งบ่อยเท่าเดิมชาร์จบิลดิ้งกันกันเตี้ยสบายสกุลตั้งกันเจ้าหน้าตั้งกันดานิเอลโพลตั้งที่กันเจ้าหน้าชาร์จบิลดิ้งมิโซรามมีzaaเดียวทองกันจันปุยะมาห้องกันมาลักนักกันจนพวกกันตุ่มเบลล์ซูมิโซพวกกันปุยตักดินอะไรกินอาจารย์เบียงที่นั่นนี่เวกันดรีมันเนี่ยมาสักกันดรีมันก็จะที่ละก็เลี้ยงแล้วก็ตั้งกันมิโซเอสเดียชาร์จเตลเปียงอินเดียนาโพลิสชาร์จเตลเปียงแต่ ที่ข้านกันถอเราครับที่ข้านนี่กันเพียงเสร็จแล้วตัวละวอชิงตันมิโซเอสเดียร์ชอร์ตพอเห็นอดีตตักจนมิโรนเตลปุยเจียเรามาเสร็จแล้วอามาดรีมอามาเพลนอันนี้ที่ครับก็ไปเห็นอย่างที่เราปุยแต่อันนี้ที่ครับการเรียนตีดูเจอนี่ซึ่งวางเงินเฮเขาเวลาเรากัลสันประเทศรองโบตัวเลยมีหิงแต่ตานะเองในตัวเลยมีแต่ตานะมาสอบในตัวละประเทศนี้แล้วเขาเวลามันแปลงมาเห็นอาฟ้าแต่เนี่ยประเทศแต่ไม่เหนือเลยอาเวลามีแต่ซ่องตาเนี่ยประเทศนี้อติตัวอารมณ์เปลี่ยนชั้นนี่จะอารมณ์ fulfill ไหมตอนอติตัวซ่องปฏิตัวเวกตัวตอนละลุกคุ้มได้น้องตัวได้อินอมตัวบ้านเขียนละลุกคุ้มอารสีเองชุบไม่โดนนี่ละลุกคุ้มจะตัวเวียบางทีเด้ก็ไงตัวเฮียนก็รถเครื่องไม่ได้เฮียนการสร้างกันไม่กันดูเชี่ยมาเส้นนี้จีนพูดว่าสยามขันลุงสตูดกันนี่เราไล่คอฟฟี่แล้วเราก็ระวังอ่ะมาลสมนะดงตูเป็นนี่ซงเตะอามาว่าจันจินวันดำคอยตัวที่ต้องตักอ่านออกมาไล่กันอาร์ซิเลียนส่วนคอฟฟี่เราชอบสั่งมาเสียเองมวยโจกินบาร์นักเขียนเองโดนะที่ตัวนี้มันก็สั่งมาเสียอันนุ่งจังเลยอาเจียเจียเลยอามีเจียคาแรคเตอร์ข้าซิร์ตัวนี้มันหัวเชี่ยนั่นสิตัวกันอภิตะกินเกยมานุนะเฮียนก็ใส่ตัวกันเกยมานุก็ชุ่มล้มก็โป้งล้มก็เท่านุนซงเฮียนโรดล่วงอันนี้เฮียนมีอินฟลูเอนซ์อันนี้อามาทุกอินฟลูเอนซ์ตัวนั้นใส่ประเทศนี้เป็นมีเดียแฟมิลี่แต่บ้านส่วนนั้นเราก็เห็นซุยหุ่นลุตัวกันตัวมาจนจ้องกำเทียมเดียวมากันเทียกันซุยที่พวกท่านขันก็จ้องกำเทียบลาซงฟิกก็ติดจริงที่แต่ครบส่วนกันเห็นซุยเลยพอนี่เสใส่ธุรกรรมรู้ตัวว่าแล้วเทียงชาดวงตักไม่เกี่ยงมันนี่เราเวลาอันซุยนัสตุเป็นนักกรมไม่แต่สิ่งมีอินซุยนัสเบ็ดแต่สิ่งมีกันนี่วันนี้กันที่อ่ะหล่อมาเอามาเราล้วงอย่างนั้นหล่อถือกระสุนตัวประเทศเห็นเอาปะแล้วเทียงมีชะตักไหมมีรู้ตักไหมเห็นไรอเมริกาเรามาอารมณ์มินรอนเปียอเมริกาเรามาอันตานมาสมัยตัวรินอารมณ์เปียเทียงอารมณ์มีกันวันนี้เล็กตุกกันวายเห็นช่วยหลอกถือใส่ตัวกันก็เบียมาฟ้าเตยเรามาเห็นประเทศนี้มาสอนเซลเสร็จแล้วกันก็ครั้งเห็นเราตัวเห็นที่ต่อมาเสร็จแล้วอะไรที่เราก็ที่ด้วยนี่กันที่นุ่งละนุ่งอีที่นุ่งอะไรกันมั้งอันนู้นนัก example มาอีกนะที่พอนะอัตราเงินส่งเห็นกันที่นุ่งอันนู้นเร่งจนตัวนี้เราตัวที่เราอะไรนุ่งอะไรกันกันตอนมาสอนนะอะไรนี่เร่งอันนี้ที่ครับที่เราตะกินเราใส่เวทด้วยเนี่ยเราไหม
เราตัวนั้นจันทร์ที่สวยดูมีดังแต่พอเอ็นอมเงี้ยกันเลยงามาเช่นจันว่ากันเอ็นะดังกว่าเลยจันเบ๊ะเป็นตัวคือว่าเอ็นคนห้องต่อเราไม่งั้นจันดังแต่พอเอ็นเราสวยต่อละมาตัวน่ะข้อหาชูการข้อหาชูแต่ตานจ้องใจนะพวกเราว่าอุปะเราว่าร้านแต่กันซ้อมมั้งนะนี่เราเข้าผี
ใส่ตัวสตังคบไม่อะมาเสร็จแล้วมันจะมาจานกันก็ใส่ตัวใส่แล้วจะกระจายเรียวมาเสร็จจานนี้เห็นใส่ตัวนี้ติดลัดสีแล้วเสื้อวางก็ใส่ต่อเราไม่มาเสร็จแล้วแต่หันเบลล์ลุกก็ดูซึ่งมาจานนั้นก็ใส่ยังคันกุมสำรุปไอ้ตั้มมาเราอินเทรตัวเลยเราอินเทรนทรัตตักกันอยู่วางกันใส่ตัวเสื้อตั้มเสียกังตัวเสียซึ่งมินเสียสักินมินเสียปุยนการิงอามาละเสื้ออากิมาใส่ตัวสันติไงนะผมเราสิมสิมาอันนี้ปุยโบราณคันสันสกันเองแล้วว่าเรื่องมาทุใส่นะอาก็ปุยก็เตียงเรื่องเรียว
ข้ามีตรงข้านี่อาทิดอนจานดาร์การตั้งป้อมโตระวังเตียข้านมินรันกว่าแต่นี่ข้าคอมมิตี้ตูรินให้มีกรีนเบลต์คนไปกัลไลเนี่ยก็ทะลุเยอะเราก็ทะลุเยอะไม่อันที่จะมันนี่จานนี้อาทิemergency kalangai yang su chalo de chon kalau kalang emergency kali la tham katia tu na committee tu rin in kaldo na local du su ka thale mai ngatia tin hun voi tam tak su tiang hian a thale mai boka chetia tin na tia ka kalsan ta ma se kan committee kanan so chonin ani tam do ina khan lo omreng to ke ko wa thlen chon alo vô rắn để tụng mày kha mi sang khan anh ấy tiếng nghe khan cả ram lâu thì kha các ngày tuổi trẻ nè cả lúc mà em trẻ nè mà sẽ các hắn cả là vàng khan anh mà anh đó chuang lâu ni thì kan chia thiên in thiên in anh được anh in rồi ra là ni hết thì các cái sẽ siang tin anh ấy hem ra mà local từ riêng cần sponsor về cái lại anh local là cái lại con vừa rồi con cần best friend nên cái này con sponsor con hỗ trợ con cái này còn nó sẽ mà anh ấy cái chỗ ông ấy thì được lấy cáiเขาก็kalmas thì được lấy cái tin cái lại cái nuôi local về là sẽ đặt vào trong miền Nam giống sao vậy sẽ là tin anh được quý khá lâu qua là anh tin mọi người này nó khá em sáng ta kinh cần xem ta sẽ đặt cho anh được quý khá cần in trang in cái này nuôi lại bằng âm này in cần in trang khan anh in này về ta cần lim khóc mày anh được quý hi rau tê thôi này về cái này rau tê cần in này cái này bưởi rau tê bốc quan cho anh cái này giống này nhật vàng rồi ngà tin anh pha tê là anh pha tê anh này mẹ mà thế sẽ là cái cho nên anh nào còn đều lại cho Ocean City sang gần cao lên ngà cái này anh nào còn thôi hiện sẽ là một con tỷ hoen alo kia alo in bị đứa to chuyện các anh tự nghe cái cầu đón I don't know whether he remembered. He always ready to go with us to Ocean City. Rồi thì cái tiếng không, we respond is two months. Cho tiếng cho nên này nó tất cả này về xây tu ra tâm lên tất cả sự các sự thế này mấy sẽ là tin cần phát thì hiện này cô vàng rồi hi uncle vàng rồi anh tiếng ai lo anh phải hiện uncle thì là phải anh cùng ai là mình đang hết số anh mình hiện xây ra là anh ấy hết số uncle thì hiện anh xây Rosalind này phải cho nên này có ba thì dễ từ lấy cái vấn đề phát hiện cho mai thì aron câu dễ anh ấy cũng ta cái này lâu tràn quay về chơi nào hết tiếng mình phải lấy tập mình sát tập này nào chuyện nào cán lâu này thì về thấy cán lâu in rau bụi cái tía mẹ mà cái xe này teo nào bộ và thiên này nó sẽ ta kinh mala som dễ lang tỉ cả rin là cả bê sấy bốc sự sự cái đủ sang phô này là tôi nọ trong trái nó cả lâu này nghe lê lệ vàn lệ chưa thì lòng rong xem từ bát thiên căn này sẽ với là hiện là pa anh vàng in nghe hay là muốn căn local căn thị xuân là pa Israel căn u nào đủ tất căn thiên đủ tất căn pa đủ tất căn pu đủ tất in là pa min bora sana vàng in là pa afa te chhungte nem turin cái này cậu thành member te atrian te chung te ho sulal pa heta kan local khom heta kan local khom ne hen dal pa eng ma ti te kan nei lo kan local khom hian อันแน่นะขมวนนะตักปกกันเปเทโลอามาราสุลาปานังมักกัลลังอินขมวนนั่นเอเทนิติกันเรียสู้หังกันหลอกไม่แน่นะลองถือกันสิละเซตินผู้วานประวัติสงสารกันเรียดเละกันไอ้ทักแต่จ้องกลาปาเราปุยกันตีนั่งไปไอ้ทักนวมอิติยังตีกันเรียลาปาขัดยังอันนุนลาปานุ่งเวทตุรินไอ้นี่นุ่งดำมาลอมเตลาปาของไอ้ตะกินกันไงตัวนั้นเตกันทินลุงและกันไงตัวนั้นส่งเตอิสระเที่ยงลิมินลาปามินรอนตีเฟลสักินของไอ้ตะกินลาปามินรอนจันปุยมินปุยตุรินปังเงินเสียอาบีกินลาปาเฮลายาอาฟาเตปนีวิลเลสเลเกลนลาปาคอร์ตะกินปันในลวินนุในลวินอันนมตีกันเสียเช่นปุยกันเตียกันลุงเตปอเสียอามาเซลปาลาปอตุอินทีน่าอันง่ายเราลาปาไม่จะชวนที่ในอันวางกัลกงานีที่อันเสียอันที่อังคารลาปาเฮที่ในอินเนนักันหลุดเส้นเตนะกัลกงอันนี้ลักไม่จู่ว่างินของไอ้ตะกินลาปาเฮตัดลุซุนมังอังลุงง่ายจังเตะลาปามินขมวนละอินเนนัหลุดเส้นเทงไงตัวละกันอินบวชใส่เทนตัวรินมินตุยละเต็นวิลเลสเลเกลนปอลาปาสักนับเปล่าขมวนนับเปล่าอันหุ่นเราก็เจอตัวรัตลาปาจับจอกเละเฟลจอกเละถ้าจอกกันมาตานะอันนุ่นเทนตัวรินเละอันข้อแวลมันนัตเปอลาปามาสอนนัตมตักในเทตัวรินลาปาอีกข้อไหนนะจ๊ะนี่นะเห็นกันตอนทีแล้วนี่ตินจุบากลาปามิโซรามักเตมุนดังตาลาปาอามาไม่ตูเตชุงเตมิตัมตักจารีนาเห็นลาปาลุงงายินขับหางินมังงินอันรู้วันนี้ที่กันเสียซึ่งเนี่ยนะพอตอนลาปาอีกข้องอินนะอีกขมวนนะอีวานขมวนนี่จะลาปารอนเปตูรินจารินเฮียนกันรอนเงยนั่นนี่ข้องไอ้ตะกินลาปาkita lokal zong tepo hikan zafa in tharau thiang ni min pol la lalpai tharau thiang lima min pol chuanin he kan omna khovel hi van ram angan yang ti hi kan ria chu wangin lalpai tharau thiang lim tran pui na le pol na hi kan ron nge na i tharau thiang limin lalpa kan lungai na zong te kan mang an na tepo hi min te ire sak the ni ti kan ria khongai takin la pa sa ina kan din la tlo takhi min ran san sak turin Yesu Krista min kadile amen
Lan moi ran than turin pitang moi ang lok so mang
Atlay to viau na in klemte kasoi ve dwa chan chu lusangi boral khanin kasoi viang katia ma se hun a om lo wangin kasoi talawa pawan rawat boral hianin kasoi lo chuan nakina kadam chuan ki inthiam lo ang ti kalawa toite soi ve ka dwa an mangai na tem ve phakin kan lo om ve a makin ti mai thaya them kha chuan an in tuna ma bia ka te om na kwan kum khat kan om ve a I an fel kan chunga hian an tha kan chhungte em ma khang lai khan ate ber hi tha kwa por ve la ni on le dan ya le hi tharuk nge tha kwa ti vel por lek khalan ya ti khanin kan du le kan mo apiang kan lama piang hi min pe a ron chhora u hi anti zela thil han soila ron la ro u anti min ko chhore maya kan nu fa hian kan chang chevero puisi a eitur omse aron khai tha anu sang hian in min ron pe a I อันเทอังยันมินเงี้ยอันรถตัวนั้นกับมามีแต่ซงอินาจันดังอ่ะปนสวยอังคานินอีมินดูสักเบรมาตีไม่ตัวเฮียนินมินจีเทียมาอีหัวอันไทยเตกันหันเสียงเวอาจุกันเนลหันตีละอันรันตีเจละอีอินหัวยาเมชินwashing machine เชียขังที่ปนอีเมชินเชียเนี่ยอินติ้งเงี้ยนี่โดนกันเดียรันชาวเราอันเดียอันนี้ขายชาวที่คันอันนี้นะฮันกันหันข้อสักงุนเวมันเอาปังดีเสอันเลยเวสีมีปรวัลเนี่ยก็ฟาเตมาเสอันง่ายดำเทมาจุ่มขัดจูดูสังงี้คันินกันอินารันสุกก็ closet คารันเอ็นะจน closet กอร์ขายน่าอาเฮียนให้กอร์จูอาลาวสร้างลุตุกลาวะหน่วยที่โอนัตตั้มมีเฮติลายาเฮียนกันช่างเชียดบางคันินชัวร์ที่เตียนกันเป็นมินเสียมสักตาหันเอาบางทวมหอยเตียนกระเรมชับอ่ะข้าคารอนว่าอัชลุตุกกติเวโตเนี่ยเดียอาหารหัวเฉามาเบียกะเลปวันรัวอตีร์ชวกงาลทิ้งเลยตัวรินอาลาวหันเสียมตีร์งาลรุมมันดีออมเนี่ยจดเสียมจอกคันินมีรันก็ว่าตุกคันินมอยเราเฉาเตะอันเดียเนี่ยนี่ก็เดียกหันเฉาค่ะเอ็นเตะให้อิเชียมันก็เชียมเวโมอันเดียอิเชียมันก็เชียมตีร์เวโมอัชฮัลลุตุกเดียจวนนี้กันหันเอ็น่ะที่คันินปวนเทที่คันที่คันกันเรื่องมาฉากคันที่ขบมายากันนักกินอาหารนี่เราบังคับไอตัวเปรอะเดียไอตัวที่ฮักเปียนมุดชวกตัวอังอาให้หัวทักกระดูกเดียที่คันที่ไล่ที่คันว่ามุดตีร์ละอันเดียเมสักที่กุมงาเวลเล็กกันเนี่ยปีสวยข้าเราเสียทียมเวนี่ไงตัวเนี่ยจงสีเราคันอันนี้อีคันที่ไล่ที่คันว่ามุดตีร์ละแต่คันที่คันมุเราไปเตะอันที่ไม่เสียเมสักค่ะกันนั่นนั่นอันมานี่หนูปักขุมหันแล้วหันมุฟิลอัดเมก็สักอังเร่งลุตัวก็มาเสียข้างอันที่ปอกขานินให้ชัดตักขานินเองกันฟาที่ปอกขาอีอันมานี่ตูเวตักอังขานินมินเอ็นสักอันมังไงนั่นเตะดงเวพากะอีกุมขัดไล่ไม่ปะเทียนินอีมินเราได้อารมณ์อมกติอันนี้ดินปะเราะเนี่ยขันอันนี้กงไอ้ขันอารมณ์สวยเพราะว่าก็มาเสียอีสวยไม่ขัดนิ่งก็เชียนสวยเลยสวยเราก็เชื่อว่าอันเราอิน close อมฮิกเตียขัดที่กุมสมรุกไล่เราอินกอมต่อจุดที่ประคัดอีก็เทงิเทตอมเบียเราตัวจุดเสียมีสวยกันสวยเบลเลยชอบงั้นปะวันเราเละปะเราที่อันนี้เคลด้วยนะเจนี่สันเคลด้วยนะอันนี้ก็วันนี้ฟอนะจังอินประคัดจอกขานินอีเอ็งละว่าขานินกะลิลาอัตยาเอ็งละว่าขันกะลิลาเตียประคัดจอกขันเอ็งละว่าจอกขันเลยอัตยาโอเล่อันเตียอันกะลันอินหูเท้าเอ็งเราจะตัวแค่ยังคอยไล่ไงที่เชื่อแต่ทั้งคงไม่เอ็งเราอันนี้ close เล่อันนี้ตีข้าเชื่อแต่ตีข้ากันเราสวยเวดูนี่สันนิษฐาน
ให้เละเจงกุมตำมินช่วยตูกัลลปากตาอีวาชะเอมันสมดินเรียงกาเชียร์เสียงลูลิมเล่ลมน่าจะตัวนั่นเองItello Suanin mitakar po Kanong zolo ka Tao le chi Nang tao ni Katu berle Zatuan keng Kabil tur tu Chiên mít qua phía lâu mà xe Khá rau mít tina phía chân đông tu Tớ vui lo về em bộ khen xe Rất tuôn vàng khó vàn xoay thêm ngà Ite lo cho đến đi khắp cả bộ cả nung dấu lâu cả trao lệ tri nang châu hi đi cả tụ berleจะตวนแข็งกับเบลตูจูก็หาโจนาเลขมวนนาอิมนานาไม่ใช่ดังการในโลก็ปุ่มมีในโรก็อินลาเนอีอังชุงมวนนาก็รนปันเนอีเตลโลจวนนิขับการโบกันนุ่งโซโลกาเจ้าเลชีนังเจ้าอีนี่ก็ดูเบรเลจะตวนแข็งก็เบลตูจูนัดนาเลเชองนาโคเวบวยเลลุงไงอินารามาเฮียก็ไงจัวก็ฉันดำตูลัลปาอีกอย่างเล่นลานก็งักเล่อีเตลโลจวนนิขับการโบกันนุ่งโซโลกาเจ้าเลชีนังเจ้าฮีนี่ก็ดูเบรเลจะตวนแข็งก็เบลตูจู
Vanrotluanga changwa se
chỉ bảy ule nên rằng tôi nó không là gần bang to cho nên cái đình trần chia này cái bữa xây cái xây gió cái tụm mày à thì to cái thì tội cái làm tụm đòn nia cái thiên là cái thứ riêu tiêu bung sợi trang lia khan bị phình cái thiên lông ở trang mà rèn lúc xu như nào cái tia số vài gian hết tiền cái lộc bung khom hi rồng bông à bồi một tất cả này thì khác kan soi non lại đuôi này bây giờ là hiện bị cái kinh the senan tu kinh riêng khan nu zai aron bia nin cái khía lại à xong thùng lao than nu zai mi làm khía soi ăn tur te atlang pui thu English and soi kham se thì kami no request a yang chuan kan soi tur pathian thu cha le tlema zong soi du kan nei te yang to English and soi ma sak tu manga imi khet hiam na karang en ma sa che mani. It was not long ago that I stood here to speak when Nusangi passed away, and I am so sad that we have gathered here tonight because Vanro also passed away soon after. I believe that from among us who are here tonight, my family is probably one of the last families to get to know Vanro and Nusangi. My family came here in 2012 when we received God's call to serve Him in ministry. It was only then that my family came to know this wonderful family. Even though it's been only 9 years since my family came to know them, it's been actually longer since I have first heard about them from others. according to our families and friends who came to visit here, they would return and would tell us that Vanrotluanga is the father figure of the Mizo community in the USA. And I don't know how Nusangi somehow found me on Facebook before we came here. And when she learned that I was going to be a pastor here, she would send me messages every now and then and told me that she looked forward to my family coming here very soon. So long after we met them in person, they were already very dear to my heart. When God finally brought my family here, Vanrotluanga and Nusangi were very good to my family. They consider our true children as their own grandchildren and encourage them in their studies and ministries. I would like to say that their passing away is a great loss to the church and the Mizo society. But to look at this from positive perspective, they lived a long life, even surpassing life expectancy according to the Bible. They have two children who are both contributing to the society in a positive way. They also have many children that they help brought up through their support. As we all know, because of their love for Christ, they contributed in many ways for the church. I believe we can say that they lived an abundant life described by Jesus Christ in the Gospel of John. And I have the sure hope that they will be resurrected in the first resurrection when Jesus comes. My message is based on Psalm chapter 13. In this chapter, we find an encouragement for us to continue to trust God even amidst our suffering and challenges. I would like to read verse 5 and 6. King David said, "But I have trusted in your mercy. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing unto the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me." If we look at the beginning of this chapter, we find King David asked God 4 questions. After that, he continued with a request. And then he stated those words that we just read in verses 5 and 6. You know, it was the great salvation of God that David and the Apostle Paul and many Christians found thankfulness and peace even amidst suffering and pain. As human beings, we often only look at this world. And if we only focus on this world, it is very easy to be discouraged and see the world as very dark and gloomy. But God invites us to not only look at this world alone, but to look up and look forward to the time when we will receive eternal life in his kingdom. We find a very powerful testimony of the Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 8. In verse 35, he asks a very important question, and then he continued with an answer. He asked this question in verse 35. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? So the Apostle Paul, after listing all the possible questions of things that can separate us from the love of God, He provided this answer, which we can find from verses 37 to 39. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. Isn't it powerful? No matter what kind of challenges and pain that we face in our life, we have the promise that nothing can separate us from the love of God. And Paul himself suffered for the cause of Christ and was even killed in the end. But he was so sure that God had prepared the crown of life for him in the promised land. So I want to encourage all of us tonight, especially the Kong and the Sena, to keep looking up to the love of God and to continue looking forward the promise of the soon return of our Lord Jesus Christ, even amidst life challenges, especially amidst losing our loved ones, even amidst losing your parents. Pavanrotluanga chansin, nusagi chansin, mitinin soy tu kan nei nitro, zara ka soy, akariro lo langchu, dorki yelo ti, dorki yeti kan, an local common ho zong zong ka, an dam dorki dam lai an talat hill ati chateka, anon soy liam ani, dorkin hey min lo ti sakto ni ti ka, petera an bulntai omani ti an rian vakok tira. Petera lo chong try dorki lo nung le ni. Zana hian ka ngai tu a. Isua kan bula lo om ve se man ang khan tak sa puin. Zalo pung khom zong zong hian. Kay mani mal nun theo Pavanrotluanga thil tha no sa tan thil tha an lo ti to hi. Isua kan phil ve thep ring ni. Kai thau turin Isua po kan deal karing, Isua po na kahit ho ngayang ti karing po kani. Maset sung tutu na hiyan from gimlo maset kan rin le kan base ngayon ho le na voy kan na misagi le Pavanrotluanga until ngayang ti Krista mo na sana ka base tla kani. Kan faten mo and maya Alayan chen om nai lok a hian kum li don kan oma mama page an in cha bi hian kol ti tok mai kan in privacy chan vak lo wangi du huna lu ta study turin an in cha bi hi mama an pe ni kan len kha te hian na sangin min how thina a vui em thina in lo le kha le to ate thin chu chuan kan chunga na be se na sang ta ka nei ti tele min mai zia alam ti nin ta khia ka soi to ang khan America ram mizo te jinga hian a big takin Maryland a hian ani chung puwa tu te jinga hian at liber kan li karinga ma se chu ti chung chuan thin long chuai in connect na thu tak mai kan nei man he aro pui katia ka wi em ma kan dam chungin kan thilunga cham ran tong sam number so pathum kan soita ka khan sa khatren charu kan chia ramila olal pa ing chen nge mi thengel don kum khwa in emni ing chen nge kalaka hian i mai thup don le ni le in ka thil lung ngai na nein eng chen nge karil ru in rem karuat don eng chen nge ka mel ma chu ka chunga choi moya om don olal pa ka pathian ngai tu ala mi chhungte khai ka miti var sakang che chuti lo chuan thi na mut hil ka mu hil da nge ka mel ma chuan ama ka ngam ta ati da nge ka ngin mi dau tu te an lom da nge ni ma sela ke zong in hi zaina kanin ma na ania changa le charo ni ma sela ke zong in engil ne hi karinga imi chandam na hen ka thin lunga lomang ka chunga that ta kai tia wangin lalpa choi moi hla ka sang amen sam number 2 le pathumi chang ruk chap ma se thu fu ni hi aro pui lutuka kan chia ta khan chang khatang chang bia khan davidai pathian zona pali zona ni how zona voili zona chumi nuwa pathian hena dil na nge na chong trai chumi zona chuan tu na asoita ke zong lalpa engil nei hi karinga imi chandam na ka thin lunga lom ka chunga thata kai dia wangin lalpa chomoi hla ka sang tin pathian fucking sam som pathum na hilo jiak toy la phua thiam Michael Card anti kantelo so all true songs of worship are born in the wilderness of suffering but hiện rồi mỗi lần phật nó cha zong te anh tia cái lệ đi à tor na thale ramatangin alo piang chuak thina ti avan moi enter lan davida khan Israel ram lung khok rok tham kar khan khawhar emin bel ma le mang tak khan om lo se sam ziak thu ziak tam tak ne hi piang don lo ni hello tia ni adik ni tro har sanale mang an na hi pathian lama min him tai thina jo to wa hianin kan han chia ta chang nga le char wa te khan zaina toy te khan sai du chu ni davida hian pathian von tlat kha thang ani mo engel har sa po to mal pathian ka von tlat don ti kha davidan thu ti thu na siam ani chu zaina hian ka mo ber ni tro engel pon har sai mang mai la pathian hi i von tlat ang davida le khaziak hi amak engel sama hian he tiak ang hoi hi voi tam taka lo ziak sam som thum le pakhat sang som ani som pali khan mit thi an thei ngel ang takin thei hilen ka oma bel ke ang mai ka ni ta anu na chela to nema sel olal pa ka ring che ka pathian ni ka ti ati sam som sai pakhat sang som pakhat som sang som le som pakhat som pali khan mi do tu te chuan ka chung chang thuan soi sia ka nun na chang tu te anin ron boka pathian na kal san ta ula man ra chan him tu re nganom lo ti in sang som pali khan nima sala atileze nima sa ke zong in ka be sei fo banga kala fak zol deu de bang se amang an thu soya atopa chon nima sala ti in da vida hian atopa lo khar sel za sam re pali ko kan mulea o pathian mi chapo te chon mi be minun rong om khom te chuan kan me hi ti bo tu minan zong nang chu an ma anda thil lo che nima sala olal pa nang chu pathian lai na khat mi khoi thei thin dal mi lai na le thu tak nga takini ti in pathian choi moin amang an na chu atopa kha thi na ni English kan share ta Bible chang ka sharing kan thu ti to mai ang zara tlai to rom bung ri hi ro pui ni ter o chang som thum pa khan Krista mai na ta chu ai nge min chen se om nei le mo lung nei le mo ti du da nei le mo tra me le mo saru ke le mo hlau om nei mo khan dei le mo min chen ang em ni chang som thum pa sri khan chen su chung zong min mai to wangin ro pui ta ngam tu kan nei thi na te nun na te thil ti the na te van tir ko te ngai thilo thi na te nun na te van tir ko te lang na te thil om sa te thil lo om tur te thil ti the na te sa na te thu na te thil siam da re reng pon ka lo pa iso Christ taun pathian mai na ta chu min them the lo ti dik takin kan res te go po he a ban thu sia lo ro pu le to khang zong khan thi na atanin em kim mai khan ประเทศอามาอินเฮรินเหลตีนไงดอนโลก็ติดตบไม่ประเทศอามาอินเฮรินเหลตีนไงดอนโลชื่อไว้ตัวก็พอละอิสัวมาอินเฮียเชียนเอโนวางเงินที่เข่งตาเด็กออกมาอันนั้นเข่งอะไรพลาดนี่ครับวันนั้นดูตักเตอไบเบิลเรียกตัวที่เป็นเราบอยเวนี่กันเชียร์ต่อเราสามสมสริปฐุมขันดาวิดาอินเขาเวลามีสวกสวดตักเตะมวยงิลตะการออกมามัวอันเขาสะทูร์ไม่เสียไกซงกระรับเป็ดเท่านี้อัติเวนี่เขาเวลาเห็นมีสวดจอกตัวเตะมวยงิลจอกเท่านี้ไม่เช่นช่วงไอ้ส่วนดาวิดาปอบบอยเวนี่มาเสียประเทศมุนเทียงเลยมันก็รู้มาส่งเลยเทียประเทศมุนเทียงเลยมันรู้หนวดจนอันตอบมาตัวดาวิดาเสียงตะเกียงขัดตานี่อุณเอาเตอประเทศเขาลงมีเตะวันนี้เห็นมวยงิลตักเล็กทำวงตักอมงิลหลังมาเสียอันตองจะโบราณเห็นตอนนั่งเล็กเฮโร่จะตัวริงเชื่อมินมาเทรนไม่ละการตอบมันจะตัวนึงอันนี้จอกตอนนี้คริสต์ไตน์จังนาซาร์ประเทศทุกอย่างสมบูรณ์สมบูรณ์เสีย
ช่างวันนะทุกจากรังสรรค์ตัวกันพาสเตอร์จังหวะดูกันเสียบ้านนะพากันสักไม้ถ้าโกทันลอยนะเต้นทุกวันตัวเร่งเนียง
เจ้าหน้าที่หลอมทูสวยปุ้ยมวยกระเทีย We owe so much to the community and those who have helped us in the sickness of Vanrotluanga. We know, you know that we don't know sometimes when you visit the hospitals, anytime, but I believe that the Lord knows it. So thank you for your appreciations and for your prayers. I know that you have prayed a lot. Some of you are very serious in prayer so that Uncle Vando will be healed again. But anyway, the Lord see it fit that he should sleep. Kan ko than mai ba ka ke mani chung ko mi gin long thu ka soi do wa. Voi tam tak min tlowa than chu kan thelo che in no kala po lom thu se na chang po kan lo che wa. In man hu no kala. Ta ka som ni pali kan om pi lo wang khan kan thelo wa chu wang in nal pan na ta kin mo som chu se la. Kan do ani te ka soi do wa. Tin a funeral hi tu na hen in kan be ka hun kan song me ka tu da kan do wa nai ta ber chu ni song pa ni September ni ninga hi an tu ma se slide go hen ti kan du sia wa ro ko som ni pa nga zen mai a membership ni na ni a an ko than ten pastor te kan bia an ni pa ron mang tham ru min tia ma se September dinga ka chu holiday lo ni sia li pa no la veka Chavan Swan to the Gantum Swan in September 12th. And here to viewing 11 can you say Mase communication gun to hello ma in Madam Pocadilla Vitam Tak and he'll point to the pocket and Polo to the po and Polo might be the Ponsia. So when I had a message take a request, climatic or another pocket swan. Important say, but here Madam Candil in the air. In a Tobera Swan, Uvano he usang thi nu khan ati press mm anu pui ama encol tu sign khan in kabor ma sak chuanin even the deonyo encol tu ni thron silo khatia athi nu tharu khan stroke ani vele khan ati chang em thin mi zong zong Canada te mo New Orleans te mo Michigan te mo phun sanga ashwai thina motora tu le ya van in a khwai kola ana pia nga usang in Canada casino nak tu zinga tia kalang tia ani chu sambo ma thuwa kal top me ei tura kanga dal kenga kenga chungan ei thina tio khanin tin min achang han pe thedo te po hian in Canada kan mu chang tu o Niagara Falls ke tia kalang tia mi khani ti san thewa chuin Hatia amana motor and khal he to lo le ama taksa an chhungte lo le nga ti mela ama du zong pon soi the lo wa chuba ka amit an thalo wa atan chuan hi ha hlak em to ni pathian khan ria kan di la พอสวยเบสคนเดินพวกอันกันสวยดูนะดำปนิเซลป่าดำเฟียนจงเทียนดำรสกันเดียกันเวเซียnursing home มาที่บ่าริงว่าจะอมเขาไทยนั่นเชลวะจะแม่กันจงใจนะพอเราไปทุนี้เสียอามาเราจะดำเสกันดูกันที่ร้านเขามาเสียประเทศไงตัวว่าบางคันหาสอเราเซลปตัวบุกะยังมาทางไกลตัวบุกเราว่าตีตัวเขาเวลาตีโซตัวนี้ละมั้งส่วนบางเงินหาโซเสนาอันดุปีบุละมัวงะอันดุปีบุละที่สอนขันปนิอุสังเลยสวัสดีนั้นเราเลยสวัสดีปัตริเคียนอันปนิขันกันเฟียมทัวภาษาเหนือเรื่องสิอีเทียนนู่นเนี่ยนักขันรู้อันสิเรียลหันเลยที่จุ่มเลยกันติดทีนะอุบาร์พอขันดูหลอมเชี่ยเลยว่าติดขันเทียนเฟียมตัวเนี่ยมาเซอุสังเงินที่เชี่ยบุละขันโอ้แต่เชี่ยสวัสดีขันก็บุริเวณนั้นจีนตลอดข้าจูมาเราตานนี่เหตุข้าหุ่นโอ้ละข้าสวัสดีขันอุมาดงเดน่าเป็นมาแล้วชุดอย่างเช่นมอสสมดาโลโดนี่อันที่ขัดจุดหมาย maybe one day when she wake up the first directions and she'll see that her husband is laying beside her. อีสานอันนั้นก็เลยหุ่นอันถอยกันจริงอ่ะอันนี้ไปขันที่กองพัชกุปละลุมันเวรี่กันนี่มันว่าติดโดนที่หักกันไงตัวขานี่อารมณ์ปีกันที่ขามาสมนะคะกี่มันนี่ก็ทันพอนี่ลงอันเชียนถ้ากินอัปเปกันนี่สบายอันก็อาเฮียนมาสมในเป็นตัวนี้ก็อาเฮียนมาสมตั้งตัวนี้ที่กันเชียจะไปวันไหนกันล้อมแม่มาอินก็ทำจังหวะล้อมถูกันสวยดีจู่ๆวางเงินกันติดเหตุจู่ๆฟิลล์จู่ๆเดียวจู่ที่สองนี่จู่นี่สไลด์ก่อนเลยมั้งกันตัวมันนี่จู่เราไม่จ้ะ
บ้านนักรากันสตอนะตัวน่ะอัธรพังไงนะเองหัวมาคริสเตียนพักวัวจะรีสังมาปังมาอันสางจุ่มจ่อจวนขมวนนักศึกษาคนสวยตัวกันปาสเตอร์ตรงใจในเป็นจริงนะโน้ดิ้งตะกัน
ดูน่าทาร์มาไงน่าเอ็นหัวมากันลัลบาบุนรูปุยลมน่ะบังบารีตุยบุลดาจวนจุเลโตโลมาโลมินา Lungai narama rum da song hi kan lal pa ma lom da na tu kadam lai ni at lang ma sogit katan chuma nakina churang nakhen ve hun chuang nakina churang nakhen ve hun chuan ka ngai long ko ve hi lo min na kina kanin ko maกันลัลปามาลมดังลาตูตินจูรำก็ปุยลำจะปันเซลิตินจูรำก็ปุยลำจะปันเซลิเลยกาลาเซลาตูนาฟาริงที่ก็เต็มไปตาตูนาล poma lom na la tu
Chandam tu me dom liam luka
Chandam
dalal chu
tu
the
me duom liam du ka nalal tru te tu nga
Rawale bon lang sa den lon na hallelujah amen
sa tian long dan hallelujah amen
lomin nakina kanin thoma
lomin nakina kanin thoma manangel barwa song song tene Lungai narama rum na song ni
kanlal pama lon na tu
kanlal pama lom na latu
lalpa kan pathian thi na hi tel law tor tu mi seven rak sak dot em ma se thi na pia thon ai na ro pui ta ka om don ni ti tan tu nu na sia ta ka ta le lom to ni thum ni a thi na zong zong nei lalpa san dam tu alo tho le a ke hi mi nu ma ka ni ka thia ni ma se la ka lo nu le ta ani miทีนั่นเลยมีที่คนจะมีแต่กันนี่ที่อินทีนั่นจะเล่นรัวลงชั้นดำตู้กันในวังหลอมถูกันทีละเสียลำบากใจละกันเช่นตาให้พวกบ้านเราเลยคุณกัลตาให้เราเตะกันเช่นตาหนูสร้างยังไงพอให้มีที่อะไรก็ทอเลยจีนอันเท่าเลยเงี้ยยังติลำบากน้ำมากันเรื่องกันไปเสียแล้วตอนนี้อันนู้นนี่ใครคุยตอนนั้นส่งแต่รูปปุยกันติลำบากกันสวยเสียเรากันง่ายทั้งคำไทยเราเนี่ยของไอ้ตะกินอันมีการสันตาอันไม่เตะมันเป็นสมนัลปาอันนุนก็ปีตัวและซิรตูกันนิเทวไทยนั้นมันจันปุยนเสอาการสันตาก็ฟาเตะเตะก็อะไรเตะเสรตานะต้องใจสักมาซงเตะจอรำดูแลฟ้าเขาดูแลน้ำเฮทีน่าฟ้ามีตุยตาลุงไงรูปซงเตะนัลปารอนขโมยนั่นเสจะนั่นทุกสักโต้เตะกันสวยอังคารกันมังอันอะไรกันลุงไงนั่นสักทีละวินเอ็งเดียวพอนัลปาฮัสเลยมังอันตอกเทรนมาอีละฉันดำนะเราปุยเลยลุตากะรินนักนักตัวนี้เองส่วนเราปุยสุเราแข่งไงตอนนี้ที่อ่ะรินนักเยอะงั้นตักในเราป่าที่เราก็เลยนี่แข่งรินอมตากะอมตัวกันนี่ชอบเห็นตัวนี้มันจันปุยอันเช่อิสวามินิทุกกันดีเลยอาเมน
ต้องการนักกันอีกไว้จบสมรสมเนาะพี่ชายเลยเราไม่เลี้ยงเทียนเท่านั้นไอ้ตัวเป็นเสียงสังขารของนี่ข้ากันไอ้ตอนนี้ก็เสียเขียนร้อนแบกกับทับไหมอ่ะจวกันหลอนมาหลอนถูกันใส่ดูบุกอ่ะตีนพอสริงไว้ท่องไว้น้องตักมาแล้วฝืนทับกันตัวน้องไฟกันหลงบุกอ่ะตีนนักตู้สังขารกันก็ทำเล่มเบอร์ตีนำส่วนเหตุการณ์พอไฟคอมกันกันไอ้ตอนนี้ตีค่ะลูกเสียงบุอยู่ตรงกลางอ๋อลงปากันกระเทียนกันปาดดูตัวบ้านนี่มอสกับมิเตอร์ปากันต้องทีนะได้ดอกโป๊ะกบชันเต้นไอ้แหละบอลทูเต็มเป็นเสียงสักกันหลอมไม่มาลันปอหลอมทูกันชุดเจ้าของที่กันตักสาเลยกันถ้าเราตอนมันมีสองสักนิดมีที่เทียนสักนิดเจ้เราไปชัวคริสต์มีกันดีเลย
ลอยไหมยังยูทูบเต็มน้องเดโมตำคนท่านไหนหรอเวทีนทีอ๋อ
สวยตลอดเลยครับสวยตลอดเลย
Selain
Nói luôn. Mình đang phải phun rồi. Bajun. Ikal man.
Ni twin hot.
Oh.
Kan him khóc mấy thì cái
Kalau lon sung sang kamu, andi suan, kita lihat jauh nanti. Kan shoran kita mau. Orang charhau akan depend di mana. Non profit itu le apply ulah. Non profit itu le